The movie Glass Onion starts with 4 friends, each receiving a puzzle box, which they then work together to solve. So I thought it'd be interesting to do a deep dive on all 9 puzzles that they find in the box and their solutions, do a little bit of rampant speculation on the puzzles that we don't see the solutions to, and uncover a few Easter eggs for the movie along the way. So this video will contain spoilers for Glass Onion. Please consider this your spoiler warning. So here we go. The first thing they have to figure out is how to open the box. Now the wood grain on the outside of the box has a kind of repeating pattern, which is reminiscent of a stereogram. Now a stereogram is an optical illusion that allows you to see a 3D image on a 2D surface. The most famous of these are the Magic Eye books that were quite popular in the 90s. So the trick with one of these stereograms is that you don't focus on the image to see the 3D image. You have to look at it out of focus. Now there's 2 types. One is called wall-eyed focus, where you focus on a point behind the image, which is why often the instructions say you need to look through the image. And the other one is a cross-eyed view, where you focus on a point in front of the image. Now we know the stereogram in the movie is viewed via a cross-eyed view because Lionel focuses on the end of his finger right in front of his face, and that is how he's able to see the arrow. That arrow points him to a concealed button that opens the top of the box. So the open box has 4 windows, each containing a puzzle. So the first window contains a grid of red and blue pegs, which is quickly identified as a chessboard 1 move away from checkmate. This setup is known as Fool's Mate, which is a little bit of a hint to what we learn about Miles Bron later in the movie. And this is the ending that can be reached in the fewest possible moves from the beginning of a chess game. Now it goes like this. White has to make some very bad moves in order to reach this setup. And then on black's second move, you move the queen to here to deliver checkmate. This is the move that Claire makes, and it unlocks the next puzzle. Puzzle number 3 looks like Tic-Tac-Toe, or noughts and crosses as I would say, but the tapper gives it away as Morse code. The X's are dashes, and the O's are dots. So dash 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 is O, dot dot dash is U, and dot dash dot is R. In the movie it looks like Lionel taps in O-U-R on the tapper and unlocks the next puzzle. Interestingly, the solution in the script is a little bit different. You'll notice next to the grid there's a big F, and the idea was that you'd put the F-O-U-R together and then tap in the Morse code for the number 4. But anyway, tapping in the solution unlocks the next puzzle. So the next window contains a sliding tile puzzle with 16 pieces. If you like sliding puzzles, you can visit knivesoutmystery.com, where Netflix have made one of these puzzle boxes, which opens to reveal a sliding puzzle, and if you can solve it, you unlock a clip from the movie. So the characters have to solve the sliding puzzle, which can be most easily solved like this. This website is absolutely fantastic. I will link it in the description in case you get stuck on knivesoutmystery.com. Solving the square doesn't actually activate anything, but the characters realize that the N stands for north, and rotating the puzzle box so that the N faces due north unlocks the next puzzle. Now puzzle number 5 is the last puzzle in this layer. Another window opens to reveal a music box which starts playing. Incidentally, the music box is marked with Roig. I didn't look up the pronunciation for this. We'll go with Roog because it rhymes with fugue. Incidentally, the music box is marked with Roog, which is the name of a real company that makes beautiful but very, very expensive music boxes. Hey, quick note from the edit room. I have it on good authority that it's actually pronounced Rouge, so I was way off with both of my guesses. Alright, back to puzzles. So the tune is identified by Yo-Yo Ma, who's actually a world-renowned cello player. I didn't expect him to have a cameo in the movie, but there you go. And he identifies the tune as Bach's Little Fugue in G minor. A fugue is a piece of music that starts with a theme, a short melody that is repeated and layered over itself in different ways throughout the course of the piece. So the key to this puzzle is layers. Lionel lifts up the central wheel, and the whole puzzle box rotates, revealing 4 new windows and 4 more puzzles. Now at this point, the scene becomes a montage and doesn't explain the setup or the solutions to the next 3 puzzles. But I am not one to back down for a mystery, so here we go. The first one is a Fibonacci sequence. Now before being solved it looks like this, and after being solved it looks completely identical, which implies that nothing slides or moves in order to complete the puzzle. Now some of the sections look transparent, and in fact after it spins, if we slow this bit down, you can see this kind of golden bar moving underneath one of the squares. On the top there's like a golden circle, and in the center is a golden square, which could also be significant since the Fibonacci spiral is an approximation of the golden spiral. So my theory here is that maybe there's a maze or something underneath the spiral, and you have to guide like a marble or a ball bearing or something from one end of the maze to the other, and maybe the colours in the different sections determine where the dead ends are in the maze or something like that. So the next puzzle we see in the montage is an abacus. When the window opens, the abacus looks like this, but I'm not really sure if we can call this the initial conditions, given that the beads could have moved in transit, and the whole box just span around, so it probably doesn't mean anything. We see the characters make a couple of moves, and we get a better look at it from above, which looks like this. This gives us a much better look at the abacus, which has 5 rows of different colours, and 9 beads on each row, and underneath we get another clue, which reads cogito plus ergo equals sum. Cogito ergo sum means I think therefore I am, and that's the first principle of René Descartes' philosophy. So the equation translated into English looks like this. I think the Latin could be pointing us to Roman numerals. So the I in I think could be a 1, the I in I am could be a 1, and if we're looking for numbers, therefore has the number 4 in it. And 1 to the power of 4 does equal 1, so we've got a balanced equation here, so maybe that's pointing us that we're on the right track. However, that only gives us 3 numbers, a 1, a 4 and a 1, and there's 5 rows on the abacus. I'm assuming that you input 1 number onto each row. So the second half of this could be linked to the colours. The abacus here is the colours of the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, but we're missing indigo and violet, and that's another I and a V, and those are the Roman numerals for 1 and 5. So my best guess for the solution to this would be 1, 4, 1 that we get from cogito ergo sum, 1, 5, which we get from indigo violet. I know this is very ropey, but I spent way too long thinking about this and couldn't get anything better. If you have any other solutions or any ideas, I would love to hear them. So the 8th puzzle, and the last one we have to speculate about, is a projector which shines a star map onto the ceiling. So some of the constellations I was able to identify here include Ursa Major, the Great Bear, Draco, the Dragon, Cygnus, the Swan, Cepheus, a King, and Camelopardalis, the Giraffe. All of these constellations are found around Polaris, the North Star. Another clue that this puzzle could be about Polaris comes from an unbox therapy video. Now these guys were actually sent a physical puzzle box by Netflix, one that looks very similar to the one in the movie, but has a series of different puzzles. But one of the puzzles in their puzzle box revolved around constellations, and the answer was Ursa Minor. That is the constellation which contains Polaris. Now, the North Star appears as a fixed point in the sky. That's why it's so useful for navigation. So you've probably seen those time-lapse photos or videos of the night sky appearing to rotate around Polaris due to the rotation of the Earth. So my solution to this puzzle would be to rotate the entire puzzle box. That way the stars in the projection would appear to rotate around Polaris, and in my head at least, that would unlock the next puzzle. The final puzzle shows a sample of metal, a number, and a switch. Now the metal is quickly identified by Birdie as silver, which is an element on the periodic table. Every element has an atomic number, which is how many protons are in the atom's nucleus, and the atomic number for silver is 47. Inputting this and flicking the switch completes the puzzle and releases the invitation to the island. Now one of the reasons I really love this puzzle box is that it completely fits the theme of the movie. Benoit Blanc describes a glass onion as something that seems densely layered, but that the centre is in plain sight. Now before they even start opening this box, before they've even solved the first puzzle, this box is identified as a Miles invitation. They didn't need to go through all the rigmarole of solving the puzzles to know what it was. Also a quick note about the invitation. The final line reads, "Travel details to come, please forward any dietary restrictions." Now this is way more important than it seems. The dietary restrictions line is how Miles knows that Duke is allergic to pineapple, which is of course what leads to Duke's death. So that is the ins and outs of the glass onion puzzle box. If you have any better ideas for solutions to the Fibonacci puzzle, the Abacus puzzle, or the constellation puzzle, I'd love to hear them. Please leave them in the comments below. And thank you very much for watching.